video got accidentally turned off by the clay. So there are people that are not as sensitive, but most people don't like it, so they will just avoid it. I can take that route. And even though it is extremely devastating for me, I don't take that route. I can't. Okay, I can't. I have already reduced it because I had to. I had no other choice. I mean, it's like, if I'm dead, then I can't sign any more petitions. I can't write any more blogs. I can't make any more videos to inform other people of the problems that are occurring in our world that we live in. Okay. And then I will not be of help. So I have to be here, and I have to protect myself enough that I can survive. Okay, but I'm not gonna blind myself and protect myself to the point where I don't see the petitions anymore, where I'm not even signing the petitions anymore. The moment I see the petition, I have to sign the petition. The moment I sign the petition, I see the petition. Okay, that's how it works. So obviously, I have to do something. And everyone can do something. Everyone can sign at least one petition per day. There's a lot of petitions out there. Hundreds and thousands of animal petitions to make the legal system better. Okay? To prevent the horror from happening to other animals. Get better animal protection laws. Okay? You can do it. Everyone can participate in this and make the legal system better. The psychiatrist will say to me, you have a chemical imbalance. Okay. Well, that's all it is. It's a chemical imbalance. Where that comes from, why this comes about? No. That question is not asked. The question why is not asked. The medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry doesn't ask that question why. No, that's not. That could shed too much light onto the situation. And then, what if people fix this? And what if there are less customers coming then? What if there are less depressed people? What if there are less people that go to psychiatrists? What if the psychiatrists cannot push their pharmaceutical, legal, harmful, and very harmful drugs on people? Then they don't make enough. Then they don't make any more money, right? So they have to prevent that. They have to prevent the word why. They threw that word why into the trash can. That's what happened. So many times that my mother has taken me to a psychologist and a psychiatrist. She has a chemical imbalance. The psychologist was a very similar mind state. Oh, so you are depressed, okay? So let's talk about it. What's going on? At least the psychologist asks. So maybe there's some trauma in the past or something. Yeah, there's a lot of trauma. Okay, a lot of issues in the world. When I was a child, I remember sitting with my parents on the table. And this is quite personal, but I want to discuss this anyway because I'm not the only one. They were eating meat from cows and pigs. And I don't know how old I was. I think that was the first time when I was sitting there, maybe the first time that they fed meat to me. Maybe I was 3 years old, something like that. Very, very, very early in my life. And I asked them, that's meat that is body from an animal? Like I looked at my own arm. You mean cut out of a body like this? Live body? And I remember the devastation that I felt over that. It was devastating. It was like I felt trapped. And they laughed, and there was no compassion. And it felt like a trap. No way out. No one to understand. There was a boy in Germany who was born in 1812, the son of Stephanie de Beauharnais, and I forgot the name of that Kurfürst, I think near Kassel, and the story was like this, that one of the wives of the brother of him wanted her sons to get that leverage position. And she had every male who was close to that position, to that leverage position, murdered, including the newborn baby by Stephanie de Beauharnais. And the man who was hired as a hitman to take the baby and kill it, he felt sorry for the baby, and he let his wife nurse that baby and take care of him, still within that castle. But when the baby got to be like 3 years old or something, when babies started to learn language and all of that, I don't know, maybe 2 or just when he started to learn language, then he got nervous because that thing could have come to the surface. So he brought the baby to a different castle and let someone there take care of that baby in a dungeon. So this Kaspar grew up in different dungeons, and then they got scared and they moved him to another dungeon. And then when he was 17 years old, he didn't speak at all. He was released on a marketplace in Nuremberg, and it's a very shocking story. It's a true story. And so he started to remember things, also in dreams. A highly, highly sensitive boy, highly, highly compassionate boy. And they only left him with a letter, which they scribbled to make it look like he wrote it, but he could not write at that time. He was 17 when he was released on the marketplace. Could barely walk because he had only been sitting in that dungeon. So a teacher took him in and helped him and nursed him and taught him German and how to speak and how to spell, and taught him history. And then little by little, when he started to see these different emblems of the different kingdoms, that woke up a memory in him, and he remembered. And then he had a dream. He remembered the emblem of that kingdom where he came from. And so when that came to the public's attention, he was the public attention already because of the way he was walking and he couldn't talk, so nobody understood how this could happen. So then they had different ideas, and people started to ask questions in the community. And then the word got around to that particular lady who had the boy murdered, and she figured out that was him. He was not murdered, that someone took him in and someone kept him hidden in the dungeon. And so she hired, together with her sons who had then taken on that leveraged position illegally, they hired people to murder Caspar. So, and then they tried to murder him. It didn't work. Someone tried to stab him. He recovered, and another time he was stabbed to death. So when he was, I don't know, 19 or 20. That's all horrible. But he'd already leaked out a lot of information, enough information from puzzle pieces of bits and pieces of dreams and memories, that he was able to put together where he actually came from and who his actual mother was. And it's so horrific. And so when that teacher, when he first got to see the sunlight, he could not even open his eyes. It was too much for him. And too bright. His iris was not used to that much light. And when he was introduced to meat at that table, he refused to eat it. He got real scared from the smell of meat. And he had only been fed bread and water in that dungeon. Back then they had whole grain bread, which was nutritious, so he could actually live on that. Whole food vegan. And then on that table at that teacher's house, they served meat. And when he for the first time in his life, smelled that, and he didn't even know where this came from. It was a physical adverse reaction to it, a physical aversion to it. So that's actually the natural state. Yeah. That's the natural state of biology. I'm going to make another part for this. Very interesting.